Sewing patterns are lying to you. If you have ever picked up a pattern like this that said beginner friendly and you still felt lost and confused, the problem is not you, the problem is the pattern. And we're going to talk about exactly why that is inside this video. Hi, my name's Abby and I help absolute beginners start making clothes they love. So if you're needing a little bit of help, you're not sure how to get started, this video is going to be super helpful for you. And at the end, I'm going to share with you another tip that's going to help you start your first project and finish it with confidence. So make sure you stick around. Now, let's talk about these sewing patterns and why they are lying, okay? So first of all, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever bought one of these, got home and been like, this is basically a foreign language? This happened to me for years. And what I realized after forever, and what I feel like nobody is talking about, is that these patterns assume you already know the basics. They already assume you know what the right side of the fabric is, what the grain line is, what basting is. So if you're confused by any of those words, this is probably going to be too advanced for you. But it's like the story, right? If you want to start making your own clothes, go to the store, get some fabric, get a pattern, start sewing. No, don't do it. It's so not the right answer here. Okay? These, again, assume you already know the basics. And if you don't know the basics, they're going to be really confusing. So what do they really mean when they say beginner or easy? That means that if you know how to make clothing, okay, you know the basics of how to put clothes together, this is one of the easier projects you could make compared to maybe a trench coat or a three-piece suit, okay? So it's the easier of the patterns, but if you don't know the basics, this is not going to be great for you. So what can you do instead? I know that patterns are the most obvious one that we always talk about, but actually there are a ton of projects you can make without a pattern. Crazy, right? I actually had no idea about this until, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago, like well into my sewing journey. And I wish I had known about this, okay? These are projects you can make without a pattern, amazing, and they talk through all the basics, okay? They don't assume you already know what's going on. They explain all the basics step by step, so that way you learn those foundational pieces. So when you do want to upgrade to patterns, you'll have that foundation and you'll be able to actually understand them. So where do you find these patterns or these projects? Okay, right, not patterns, sorry. Where do you find these projects? One, I have a playlist on my channel of beginner-friendly projects that don't need patterns. You can check it out right here. Another option you can do is find a book. I have 2 on my shelf that I absolutely love. One is Dopamine Dressing. It's so cute. It's by Brogan Allard, and I will link to it in the description below. But there are, what they say on here, 15 sewing patterns for every season. And there's no pattern in here. What's going to happen is she is going to, in a very easy way, explain how to draw basic shapes right onto your fabric, okay? And she talks through everything really nicely. And then another one is Made to Measure by Alyssa Lex Jewell. Okay, these are both really nice. So there's tons of books out there that have these projects that you don't need to have a pattern to do. Or you can always Google it or use it on YouTube. Projects to make without a pattern. And there's actually a ton out there. Okay, so that is what I would recommend doing. Okay, so skip the pattern altogether and find a project you can make that just doesn't need one. Now, that is what I recommend, but there are so many projects out there. It can still feel kind of overwhelming, like which one should I pick? There are a million. So I want to give you a couple of tips to help you quickly and easily decide if a project is going to be beginner friendly for you. The first big one is to make sure that your project does not need stretchy fabric, okay? Stretchy fabric is not hard to work with, but it's harder than fabric that is not stretchy. So if this is your very first project or you're new to sewing, let's make our lives as easy as possible, okay? And make sure we pick a project that uses fabric that is not stretchy. And you might hear the word woven, okay? Woven fabric means that it is not stretchy, okay? So make sure your project is not stretchy. That's the first one. And then you want to look for something that is loose fit. Okay, the tighter a project is, the more fitting and adjustments and little things you're going to have to do to get it to fit you just right. And again, if it's your first project, let's make this easy, okay? And I think sometimes when I say loose fit, people think it's going to be a potato sack, it's going to be like super boring. That is not the case. There are a ton of loose fit projects out there you can make that are really, really pretty. I actually have an entire Pinterest board of ideas, so I'll share them here. And another really nice one that I like is a circle skirt. And I have a link to it right here, a project you can make. These are beautiful and they look good on pretty much everybody and they're super adjustable. So yeah, just because it's loose fit does not mean that it has to be ugly, okay? And another thing about loose fit, it typically means that we have ties to adjust something like a wrap skirt, or maybe we have elastic, like a pajama pant at the top. And when we have this kind of adjustability, it actually means your clothes are going to fit longer if your body is changing weights, or maybe you're just bloated that day, or whatever's happening, you know? Like our bodies are always shifting and changing, and these clothes will shift and change right along with you. So they're actually amazing for a lot of reasons. So now that you have made sure the project is not stretchy fabric and it's loose fit, the next thing I would look for is to make sure you don't need zippers or buttons. Again, these aren't super hard to do, but for your first project, let's just make life easy. So not stretch fabric, loose fit, no zippers, no buttons. Okay, got it so far? The next thing I would recommend is whatever project you find that meets all of these criteria, make sure that you watch or read through the entire project before you start. It's really easy to get excited about something, jump in, start making it, and then realize, wait, what happened? Wait, they skipped a step here, or I have no idea what that means. And then you get frustrated in the middle, and it's really easy at that point to kind of give up, put it in a box somewhere, and take a break from sewing. And I really want you to confidently start this project and finish it. So a really good way to make that happen is to watch the entire video from beginning to end and make sure that most of it makes sense, okay? Make sure there's not like a word they're using you don't know. You can look it up. Just prepare yourself before you even get started, okay? It's no fun to get halfway through and then realize, oh, they skipped like 4 steps here. Because I have done that. I have a box of projects that I haven't finished because I don't know what to do. They skipped something. I have no idea how to look up how to do it now. And don't be like me, okay? Learn from my mistakes. And pick a project that you want to make, okay? Some people have this idea that they need to make something easy as their first project, even if it's not very fun or they don't like it. I cannot tell you how many people I know who picked a project they didn't really want to make and then ended up giving up because it was kind of hard, which totally makes sense. I get it. But that's why I'm saying pick a project you're excited about. Because if you want to wear this thing, when things get a little bit challenging, you're going to have that motivation to tackle it and overcome it and finish it anyway. So don't pick a project just because it's easy. Pick a project because you want to wear it. Right? Good? So, do you feel like you know how to pick a beginner-friendly project for yourself? I hope the answer is yes, but if you still have questions, let me know down in the comments. Let's chat. And if you found a project that you think is beginner-friendly, but you're like, but is it? Maybe I'm not sure. Please post it inside my free Facebook group. Down in the description, you'll find a link. I hang out there, I chat with people, we sew things. It's really fun. So if you have a project and you're like, is this beginner friendly? Post it there and we can chat to make sure it's a good project before you get started. And if you find that project and then you're like, okay, I know I'm supposed to make it, but what tools do I need? How exactly do I get started? Do I need to do this first or that? What comes next? If you're feeling a little bit lost and confused starting your sewing journey, I have just the thing for you. Down in the description, there is a link totally free to my sewing DIY Fashion Rebel roadmap. And it is a step-by-step checklist to take you from I have no idea how to get started to actually wearing your first piece of me-made clothing. It's yours totally free down below. I just really want to help more people get over this beginner hump because so many people want to and then get stuck and don't actually make anything they love. So I really hope this checklist helps you. I hope this video helps you. If you liked it, please like the video and subscribe. It helps more people see the video. And of course, you'll be notified when I post anything new. Now, picking your first sewing project is only one of the 3 biggest mistakes beginners tend to make when they start making their own clothes. And if you want to learn about the other 2 to make sure you avoid them, then be sure to tune into my other video here. Whatever you decide to do next, happy sewing, and I really hope you make a piece of clothing you love soon.